different ailments such as autoimmune diseases like psoriasis, multiple sclerosis and Crohn's disease, cancer, especially skin cancer, together with the camel milk fat, if you apply the camel milk fat, diabetics, allergies and infectious diseases like tuberculosis. That different products can be made from camel milk. Here you see an example of shubat, which is a type of very sour milk found in Central Asia. This is a picture taken in Kazakhstan. Of course, this is from a Bactrian camel. Interestingly to know is that the Bactrian camel milk has double the amount of fat than in cow's milk, so around 8%. As a camel calf, of course, in Central Asia needs fat for energy against the cold. In arid climates like here in the United Arab Emirates or the Middle East, where the dromedary, the one-humped camel, is home, the milk is low in fat and high in liquid content because it's a liquid that the calf, of course, needs in the heat. Then you have a lady producing in Mauritania, producing the first camel milk cheese or camel bear. Caravan, she classifies it, and it's a soft cheese. We're unable at the moment to produce hard cheese from camel milk. Most probably it's because of the low fat content. Here in Dubai at the Camel Dairy Farm, we are in the process of producing the first camel milk chocolate together with an Austrian chocolate company, and also ice cream. Camel meat. Not much is yet known about proper camel meat processing and ripening procedures. It is more in its infant shoes than that of the camel milk. But the literature data on qualitative properties of meat is very scarce indeed. Hence it is really great to be able to address you today as chefs, because we need your help to develop the camel meat industry worldwide. In the UAE, there are 3 main slaughter facilities, but there has been a huge decline in slaughtering of camels in the last years, especially since the death of the former president of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed, who was a very keen supporter of camel and camel products. Camels used to be slaughtered for purposes of local households or local weddings, and also the UAE armed forces. The French food chain Carrefour sometimes used to have it, but that does not exist anymore. So I'm actually very happy today that you'll be able to try a camel for your lunch, I think, or dinner. It's wonderful. I would actually love to join you, because I haven't had it for a while as well. Slaughtering in the United Arab Emirates of camels is still very basic. You can see here in these 3 pictures. It certainly does not comply with modern slaughtering standards. Since the camel is the best meat-producing animal adapted, suited for this hot and arid climate, we are now in the process of starting to look into the commercialization of camel meat for the local and expatriate foreign market, 2 very different ways of meat processing. In the past, camel meat was associated by special non-local, so non-Bedou, non-Arab consumers with being tough, and the meat was associated with being also very tasteless in comparison to other meat. This is mainly due to the fact that the meat has never been processed correctly. After the mandatory halal slaughtering, no dressing of the carcass takes place. The meat is usually cut directly off the bone, so there's no grading into high quality or lower quality cuts. This means that standardization is impossible, and there's no guarantee of a consistent quality by uniform grading of cuts of meat. But as you all know better than I do, I'm sure, a meat needs to ripen, it needs to mature. Applying the same standards and procedures on camel meat as on other meats, we are very positive that a high quality product comparable to that of other meats or first choice beef is possible. So as we are already leading the way in the development of camel milk products, we are also hoping to set up a state-of-the-art camel slaughtering and processing unit here in Dubai. But there needs to be a lot of development done on the production, the ripening, and further processing of camel meat to make it into a competitive product. Maybe something along the lines of Kobe beef or Parma ham of the Middle East. Marketing research, for example, in Australia has shown that camel meat is very popular with tourists who are looking for an unusual culinary experience, therefore ideal for restaurants and hotels. Medicinal properties, I think there's something slightly wrong with the picture. Anyway, you can see most of it. I think it's corrupt. Medicinal properties of a healthier meat diet is quite evident. It is very low in fat, the meat, but with a high content of unsaturated fats. There's a clear correlation between the water and fat content. The meat is low in cholesterol, about 50 milligrams per 100 grams in comparison to 65 milligrams per 100 grams of beef. But unfortunately, the protein is somewhat lower in camel milk than, for example, beef meat. Furthermore, and important, the chemical parameters found in camel meat is dependent on the cut, not the age of the animal. If one looks at the micronutrients, it is immediately apparent that camel meat is an excellent source of trace elements, zinc and iron. In camels, similar to cattle, the divided carcass, which includes the hump, makes up about 55% of the live weight, whereby the forequarters and the hindquarters take up most of the carcass percentage, with the neck and the hump taking up the rest. Of course, due to the length of the camel neck, it is treated as a separate part. Several of the edible slaughter byproducts like heart, liver, lung, spleen and kidney have considerable nutritional value because of their low fat and energy content and their high content of essential nutrients like protein, vitamin B, iron, zinc and copper. Of course, with camel you will find the regular cuts or normal retail cuts like top side, silver side, eye of round, sirloin, heel and hind shank. The hump, of course, is not made of water, it is made of fat. It is a highly solid fat tissue which can only be processed with difficulty into sausage products, but what you can do, you can melt it down and use it, for example, for cooking. So to conclude, I would like to ask you to consider camel products in your menus and this contribute to a healthier diet and a more sustainable product. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can you stay here for a second? Thank you. Professor Venery, thank you very much for sharing with us an experience that I'm sure is very new to many of us here. And it again underscores the great benefit of coming to a different part of the world and learning about cuisine and food and things that we are not so familiar with. So thank you very much for doing that. I do have a question. Is there a local dish that combines camel milk with a high acidity element, and what might that be? Because I saw the chefs perk up when you said it won't curdle. It's a huge thing for us.
To be honest, I don't know. I wouldn't know. No.
Are there any chefs from Dubai here or from other parts of the world that can enlighten us at this point? I'm sorry to put all of you on the spot, but we'll pick that up later on again.
I can jump in if you like, Mr. President. I'm over here.
Yes. Yes.
In our hotels, we mainly use the camel milk as a form of dessert. So we do the creme brulees, and some of the pastry chefs are doing ice cream in-house and also producing croissants and pastry products. Mahalabia, which is an Egyptian dessert of origin, which is milk. They also produce a camel milk mahalabia. Omali, which is another Egyptian dessert. They also produce, they use the camel milk inside the omali on the dessert buffets as well.
Thanks, Andy. I can't hear.
Anything that's baked in the oven, Chef Uwe tells us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Professor Renner, on behalf of the World Association of Chef Societies, a little memento as a token of our appreciation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.